Welcome to the Unicorn Millionaire Podcast, where we celebrate financial empowerment and pride all year long. I'm your host, Charly Stover, a non-binary Latinx money coach who's traveled solo to over 34 countries while helping my first-gen LGBTQIA+ and BIPOC community invest in the stock market and themselves. From my journey as a formerly undocumented Mexican American to diving into the world of finance as a stockbroker, I've learned firsthand the importance of financial independence and how you can be anti-capitalist while investing. I said what I said. Through my podcast, I share empowering stories and drop gems on gems, from how to be a Roth IRA freak to buying your first home. I started this podcast because I didn't see anybody like me talking about how to take advantage of capitalism. Whether you're tuning in for financial wisdom, wellness tips, or just to hear about my travels, I keep it real, fabulous, and magical. Subscribe to the Unicorn Millionaire Podcast and leave me a 5-star review. We're here, we're queer, and we're building wealth juntos, juntas, y juntes. Let's get into it. Jesse, welcome to the Unicorn Millionaire Podcast. Super happy to have you on today with us.
Thanks for having me on. I'm excited.
Could we go ahead and dive right in by having you introduce yourself, please?
My name's Jess. I go by Jkiilem, and I've been establishing my brand and who I am as far as what I want to present from all my creative activities in my life to just present myself in any way that I feel makes sense at the time. So I've changed my careers many times and progressed my careers many times. And now I'm at the point where I'm just traveling the world dancing and helping Taste Entertainment host events. I've been doing that for like 10 years, which is women-only events. And I still do videography and editing and stuff like that as well. And I'm just trying to progress in other areas of my life, business-wise, and really just trying to take the next step being in my 30s now. So 32 and I live in LA and I'm really, really gay.
I love it. I too am really, really gay. Yeah, and I think I'm pretty sure I actually saw you perform at WeHo when I lived in LA 2 summers ago in 2023.
Oh, did you? Oh, wow.
Yeah. But I didn't know you were like super TikTok, Insta famous and everything. And of course, the queer community is small. The algorithm quickly was like, here's Jess. And then I really started to follow you recently. I just moved to Portland in August and have started to dive into like the kink scene and decided that I wanted to perform as a stripper for the first time, as one does when one is queer and newly in a very gay city. And I hit you up in your DMs because I saw that you offered a tutorial on lap dancing from the mask side, which is less common, really. Right. I feel like there's a lot of like queer burlesque from the femme presenting side, but I really, your brand stood out to me because it was like how to give a lap dance from the mask side. Yep. And I love the gender fuckery that goes into all of that. And so yeah.
Did you try before the class?
What's that?
Did you try the class?
Oh yeah, I definitely took moves and performed some of them at this strip show. I was like this, and I kept remembering you be like, be sensual, slow, take your time.
Right. Good.
So let's take us back to where it all started. Who were you in your 20s when you were figuring it all out before you dove into this career?
Well, I came from South Jersey where I grew up. And I moved at 18 to go to college, and I thought like film was going to be my main thing. I was going to be this big editor. And when I went to college, I first I came out at college, which was great. I didn't come out until I was 22. So I finally like found out through other queer people and rugby about my sexuality. I joined the rugby team, and that was a really cool adventure in itself. And then through the classes and graduating, I wasn't about it. I just felt like I didn't want to do this. I hated it after that. I kind of resented the college course load and learning about what film is really about in the industry, which I think is really just bullshit at the end of the day, because if you're an artist and if you're queer, if you're someone that stands out, they don't make that stuff for you. So It's just you
Mhm.
feel like very like isolated, and I just felt really confused more than anything. So I wanted to get my hands on something, and I kind of do that wave of like if I'm too digital, I want to go back into being like hands on. So I started to get my personal training degree when I moved back across the country. I moved to Providence. And that was my first U-Haul situation with a girl and my first of her girlfriend, and that was hell on earth, as you can imagine,
You
just
live and you learn.
right. And it was a lot learning. But then after that, I stayed out there for a while, and I'd stayed at some gyms and I was training a lot, but then I was like, this is not enough for me. And people were like, you need to like be somewhere else. Like this is not like Providence, Rhode Island is not for you. So I had
Mm.
a mentor actually when I first lived out here, and he called me one time, and I was like, this is like the timing of this like was like I just need to go back. He told me that he's like, you need to come back. So I actually just moved back, and I drove everything in my car, and I went back right before Crave, which is like a really big lesbian festival in Palm Springs, right across from Dinah Shore, which if people know
Mhm.
about Dinah Shore, it's pretty big. But Crave was like the not white version of Dinah Shore, and it was really, really fun. And I went 5 days before that, and I drove, and as soon as I got to Crave, I met like everybody I've ever wanted to meet on social media, and I
Mm.
like inserted myself in all these people's lives, and I was like, I can do this, I can do this. So I realized because I thought like everybody's gonna want me to train them, and nobody wanted me to train them. So I was like, let me go back to my roots of film, and actually, I don't have to be in the industry. I can just invest in some new equipment and help people with content. And I was ending up being like everybody's content creator for most of the lesbians out here at the time. And then Taste grew on me, which was the lesbian owned queer events, and that grew on me really, really well. And I still do video for them to this day. But I've managed to grow in that throughout my 20s with the exposure to all the lesbian scenes, because I it wasn't just Taste, it was like every lesbian scene I could find, every single person, every single resource I could find. And I was just networking my ass off. So eventually I just worked my way up to getting more in front of the camera and doing more things like this, like podcasts. I started doing interviews for our events and like interviewing lesbians and just kind of almost being like a journalist in a way. Like I really love to like really progress our community and see where we're at the current times, and just inserting myself in all different ways. And then dance grew about 3 years ago. So that wasn't very much in my 20s. That was kind of later in my 20s. But a lot of my 20s was just a lot of partying. And I realized like through all the partying was a lot of studying. I didn't realize I was studying until like later on, but I was like, all those years before even getting into the lesbian scene, I was like, going to straight clubs and I was like studying how they ran events and stuff like that. And I was
Mm.
really trying to figure out like what it is that's intriguing me about this. And it all came to light later in my 20s. So now we're here.
I like how you pivoted and just dove in and learned by
Yeah.
doing. You're like, I'm going to train them all, and none of
Yeah.
them wanted that. You're like, oh, okay.
Right. Yeah. I have to because I came out here with no plan. I came out here with nothing. I lived in the back of someone's house and in like a shed, and I was just like struggling in every area, but I had this drive of like I just got to figure this out. I really got to figure it out. So, and I did. It just took a long time.
Mhm. That's inspiring because you always look up to people and you see the end results and living their best life, but we all came from somewhere and
Yeah.
struggled
Yeah.
through it. What kept you going when you were like in the shed, just like, I don't know what I'm doing, but we're doing
Uh,
something?
I thought it was sex at the time. So I
Ah!
was like, let me like really just enjoy dating, being gay and
Yeah.
single because I was in a lot of relationships. So I was just like using that. But then I started to divert and really be more focused on like what it is about my purpose that's driving me to continue to keep researching and like pushing to find more connections. Like I just kept gathering connections. That was like one of my biggest drives. Like how many people can I know and how many doors can I get into, and what are the things that I can learn from these people and these lessons. And every time I go out and all the failures I have, like what can I learn from all this? So it was really a lot of that, I think, and it's always been that. Like I really just tried to use the experiences as my biggest life teacher.
Ooh, let's talk about failures.
Yeah.
Is there like a big failure or multiple failures, or is there something that you kept doing or did once and you're like, not again? Like, what did you
Yeah.
learn?
Yeah. I mean, I think moving and doing stuff sporadically like that, thinking you can just like, because my my main security was before I even drove, I was like, I put on my story like, message me or write me or click the button if you would train with me if I moved to California. And like hundreds of people were like,
Mm.
yes. And I was like, all right, bet, like it's easy. So I get here, literally nobody is hitting me back. Nobody is like, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm like shaking my boots because that was gonna be easy income. And I'm like, I'm not gonna work at a gym again. I don't want to do that. So I did actually do some interviews at some gyms and it wasn't working. And I was like, this is the universe telling me this is not it. And then I got into the film stuff and it was good, but at the same time it wasn't making a lot of money and a lot of people were like fucking me over. Like they were just not paying
Mm.
me. They were not giving me the deposits. I didn't even ask for deposits sometimes. I was just trying to get indoors and try to have more exposure, but I was getting left and right, like not getting paid for a lot of things. And it just kept feeling like everything I was doing was just not adding up. And then next thing you know, like now I gotta start paying rent because I can't move out. I don't have anything saved up. Like I just have been trying to even get my foot out the door, like in anything. So it was just like one thing after another. And it still happens to this day. But there's just so many different things that would happen that would just knock me down. And I could either think of it as like, fuck this, never trying that again. Or I could just be like, let me just pivot. And I just done a lot of pivoting in my life. Um, because I think I'm not for everybody and I'm not very digestible to a lot of people either. So it's like, I'm just not gonna let these opportunities like keep me down at all. So there was a lot of that. There was a lot of different things that happened and it just continues and I don't see it the same anymore. I don't let it knock me down like that either.
Mhm. I think realizing that you're not for everyone as a business owner is a huge turning point
Hmm.
because when you first start a business, you think you're going to be like Walmart or Target where everybody wants to buy your shit. And then you realize, oh no, I'm queer, I'm masked, I'm all these things.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
clearly not going to be for like the cishet white men. And
Yeah.
that's fine.
Yeah. But I dedicated my services in video quickly, like to just being queer women of color. Like not just them, but like mainly them. Like that's my priority. And I worked with a few men, like a very few, but like it just quickly didn't work out after a while because my heart wasn't there and they could tell. So, I kept pushing to finding more women and more people in business to work with that would need assistance in their businesses to like growing or they just couldn't get that image that I could see or like the quality that I had to bring it out of them. And I had a lot of success in that. And I still do it here and there. It's just kind of limited because it's been almost 17 plus years of editing and it's exhausting. So it's nicer to just show up to a gig, be in front of the camera, and then go home and not have any homework
Mhm.
later on. So it's nicer to do that these days.
Yeah. And so now you do mostly dancing and dance content, or what's your main thing now?
There's no main thing. Like a billion things at once. I guess it's all. I think the message and the feeling of what I've progressed is kind of being the main thing, like sensuality and being gay in that, like and being sexual too. I think all of that is kind of like it's all centered around that. So my dance, now I'm doing a lot of influencer work around sex products and stuff like that. So now a lot of people are looking to me for what's the best product, and there's like different things like avenues that all center around that. And then the video is still there. The brand that I have is Jkiilem. So I have my own clothing brand and I have my own website and things that like messages that I have on my socials that kind of are around my brand. So it's all kind of connected in a way. So as long as I'm continually believing in myself, I think everything kind of just keeps growing. So as long as the avenues keep growing, I feel good about it. It's not really. I shifted my mindset from being like I need to have this one main thing and then everything's a side thing, and now it's just like everything is just all connected and whatever happens is just added to the pot, but it's just got to make sense.
And how often do you feel like you have to pitch yourself, or are you at the point at where people come to you and you just have it like on autopilot? Because for me, I noticed that I want to do more speaking gigs and I'm just waiting magically for it to happen. That I know that I need to put myself out there more and pitch myself. So I'm curious what your take is on that.
Yeah, I think it's like the level that you believe in yourself to not really needing the approval of the gigs. I think that's when they start to flow. I think when I stopped chasing, and that's like the law of attraction, you just stop chasing, it just comes. And I was doing a lot of that. I was even signed up for a lot of acting agencies and stuff like that. And there's just so many things that I was really pushing for, and it wasn't working. And I did pitch myself a lot with everything that I have done in the past, especially more in my 20s. And I think that's just common when you're growing up and you don't have a lot of history. But now that
Mhm.
I've grown and I have a lot more opportunities and I believe in myself and myself as a machine more, like people are just coming in. Like, I mean, you came to me, like there's just different
Mhm.
things that happen. And I think the more that I use my voice and be more confident in what I want and who I am, people are just more attracted to finding out, well, how did you get there? How did you achieve this, without a lot of help? And I still don't have true management. I still don't have like a lot of people in my circle that help me. It's really just me. So,
Mhm.
it's like you really got to wake up every single day and invest in yourself, believe in yourself, and just keep using your voice. And I create a lot of content around what I do. And when I have the motivation or I have the image in my head of what I want to say, I really try to put it out there immediately. And usually the work speaks for itself. Like a lot of people like really admire the time and effort I put into my work, and I think it shows.
Mhm. And you're pretty big, and with a big audience, I think a lot of people can relate. Is the trolls? They're afraid of saying the wrong thing or for trolls to come. I feel like when I go viral, it is like in a bad way, and it's scary, and I shut down, and I'm trying to work past that block of like just not listen, and then oh, I don't want to have to disable the comments. So I'm wondering like how you maintain that self belief despite you probably attract massive amounts of haters and trolls and just like
Yeah.
bots at this point.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a lot of men. It's a lot of insecure people. It's a lot of confused
Mm-hmm.
people. And I don't have the patience or the interest in them. So it's like I already limit my comments on my Instagram, especially to just followers. So you have to be following me to even comment. And
Mm-hmm.
because I don't really care too much about the viralness or the amount of anything. It's more so like, do I really like what I'm putting out and do I believe in it myself? So all that stuff, once I limited that, it helped. And then you have like keywords you can block, and then I just have the block button, and I block so many people all the time, especially men. If you're a man and you just start following me for no reason, I'm gonna block you. I don't care. I just don't care. Like it really doesn't matter to me because I live in a world in reality that is mainly women. It's 99% women my whole life. Like the only reason I'm dealing with men is for venues, for public interaction stuff, and then my dad. And that's literally pretty much it. Like I used to have male friends. I don't really have them anymore. I don't
Mm-hmm.
have men in my space unless they're like working on the space. And yeah, it's like if I can create that in real life, I'm definitely gonna create that on my digital life for sure. And I don't
Mm-hmm.
feel any weirdness about that, and I don't care too much about the views or the exposure or all that stuff. And there's a lot of brands that have denied me because of that, and I'm just like I don't care. I'm just go find a brand that doesn't care as much. Um, and I think saying that out loud and doing that and being true to those actions have really multiplied my growth and my momentum in this, just because it's like you're really dedicating and saying stuff to the universe, like this is how much I care about this, and it says a lot, it speaks
Mm.
volumes.
Yeah, I think that's helpful for me to remember too. I feel like when I say things, I believe them. Like once sometimes I struggle to make decisions, and I'm the human design. I'm a self-projecting projector, and I'm a Virgo, and we
I'm
we
Virgo
love.
too. Yeah.
Oh, you're a Virgo. Oh my
Yeah.
God, you're like the sexy Virgo. Okay, I'm like the money is sexy Virgo. I'm also Aries rising, and I feel like I've
Oh, okay.
decided to heavily lean into the Aries fuego because the Virgo practicalness for me, like it tends to just weigh everything down and ground it, which is great. But I'm like, okay, let my Aries rising shine. It's been
Yeah, that'll get
great.
stuff done. Aries gets shit done for sure.
And has
Yeah.
fun.
I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I was gonna ask you what your birthday is, but I'm September 10th.
I'm the 22nd. I'm
Um,
on the cusp. I'm around.
oh,
Bro, yeah, I'm right.
Libra.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay. Yeah. And so I feel like I need to do that too. I also need to say, oh, I don't care what these people think. Like aloud, it's one thing to think it, but I think that's saying it aloud so that, mind body connection, somatically, you start believing it and put it into action.
Yeah.
And back to just being in women's spaces, I went to women's college too. So it was like all women. I came out real fast. I grew up in rural Washington State, and I came out like a few months into being at a women's college. I was like, I don't have time to waste out here. It's
You
like,
went to a women's college. I just went to regular college, but I just was a rugby team. That's
yeah,
awesome.
it was heaven. I'm so glad I came out when I did. And I went into the toxic relationships and everything, but at
Yeah,
least I
yeah, yeah.
got to experiment and be in a space that was all women. So I think that I have that mindset of like empowerment and sapphic sensuality. And I love
Mhm.
that you
That's
create
awesome.
spaces for them. And I love that. I think I saw one of your reels where you're like, having a private party. It's like Magic Mike at like a
Oh
bachelorette
yeah.
party or a girls' party. That looks so fun. It's
Yeah,
like we
yeah.
want more
We've
of
done a couple of
this.
those. We've done at least I think 4 or 5 now. It's really cool. It's really cool to do. Yeah.
Yes, I love that. It's just like an alternate universe that you're living in that I think is it's so needed right now. Like how have you been honestly since the election?
Uh, again, I think what you just said, like as long as you create this world where you try not to let everything else affect you. I mean, of course, I see the news every day. I think it's getting funnier, honestly, just because we're finally waking up and we're all like getting. I feel like a lot of people are getting closer because of the bullshit that's happening, and I do find people being kinder to one another. Like I've traveled recently on a lot of airports and flights, and everybody's just like really nice and kind, and it's like nice to see because I think it's like kind of resetting our mindset to
Mm.
being like let's hold on to each other a little bit tighter because it is tough for everybody right now. So it's been nice to again create my own reality and just be more immersed in it than anything, and just focusing on just talking about those topics because if I get started on the politics, I'm just gonna drive myself insane. And
Hmm.
it's really so insane to me that it's like so bizarre and otherworldly that I can't even wrap my head around it. Like people can't wrap their heads around gay people. I can't wrap my hands around the person running this fucking country. It's just blows
Hmm.
my mind. So yeah, I don't know. I don't even associate with men, let alone Trump supporters. So it's like I have to really segregate myself from a lot of the mindsets of people out there. But thank God I live in a very nice area and in LA where we're all on the same page. Like nobody's thinking that shit. So it's a nice way to live where you're just like kind of in the right place at the right time.
Same out here in Portland. I'm so happy to be able to be
Yeah.
here
Yeah.
as like a rural queer. And it is sad to see a lot of people who are like in rural Texas who don't have the finances to escape because it does cost money to live in these big queer cities. Unfortunately, like LA is not cheap. Go to Erewhon, smoothies are like $30.
I still not step off into one of those places. Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I went to just like laugh at everything. I didn't buy anything.
Yeah.
But I'm sure like do people from rural America like reach out to you? They must to thank you for just existing and
Absolutely.
being a light.
Yeah, definitely.
Um,
And it feels really good to see that, know that, and just to be a help in any way, and know that like it's not just your own little world you're living in. Like there's so much of an impact around everywhere. And especially the people that don't have that. And I was one of those people. Like before I moved and when I was living in Jersey, I didn't even know my sexuality, but I just knew that there was a lot of people that I was following that I really looked up to and I wanted to be around them and wanted to body that somehow. So, it's just like I understand what that feeling is like entirely. And it sucks.
mhm.
It really, really
Yeah.
sucks. Yeah.
Well, since I'm a money coach, I love talking about money. That's my kink. So as I recently performed, I realized that I had a lot of respect, even more respect for performers because I was kind of like you, the anthropologist, like observing the go-go dancers at Dinah Shore and just being enamored with them. And then I realized that I'm enamored with them because I want to be like them. I also would like to perform. I mean, I performed in college at a Latinx cultural show and I had just so much fun spreading joy in that way, doing like bachata, merengue,
all these different things. I think I wore like an Aztec suit and did an Aztec dance. I'm like, how do we know how the Aztecs dance? But cool, I'm gonna do it. And then I think I just shut down that part of me after college because I thought, well, now I have to be a serious adult and get serious jobs. And I shut down that side of me that I think I revived it. I don't think I would have revived it if it weren't for the election, because part of me realized that, okay, I am financially privileged to be able to take care of myself financially in this election, take care of my body. I get weekly massages. The self-care is on point. How can I give back to my community in a sustainable way? And that just turned out to be queer joy for me, and stepping into performing and not doing it for the money. But I realized that, wow, just even having the outfits, or like I bought a sexy leather steampunk harness that costs $130. And that was half of what I was paid for 2 nights of stripping plus tips. And I was like, dang, I respect performers even more, because the outfits, like the drag queens, the burlesque performers have some really titillating titties and outfits. And it's a
Yeah.
whole production. You got to do the outfit changes. You must have like 50 hats and the baller Nike shoes,
Yeah.
like on point.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering how you handle your finances. Do you say, I need to save this much for retirement, since you are your own boss? And I feel like a lot of performers need to hear this, since we don't have that, employer 401k match or 6-figure job. Like, how do you handle your finances?
Yeah, I was not good with that most of my 20s. I didn't get into dance until my late 20s, and you know, uh I thought at the time with the video stuff it would pay and I could save, but it would just be like, okay, well, I'm saving and then I hate how I'm living, so now I gotta improve my living. And then I would spend all that money on the living, and then I would have to improve the work, and then I would have to add more work, and then I would have to kill myself even more. And it would just like be this endless loop of like, rent increasing and like trying to find a space that I'm actually happy in. And I never had a space until this space I'm in now, which I got 3 years ago, which is my own space. And I invested in that knowing I didn't even have the money for it. And I was just like, I'm gonna figure it out. I don't care. And never, I just made a YouTube about this. Like I never cared about money most of my life, which I knew I probably should have earlier on, but I think the priorities of my life were just to be happy, to really find my path first. And I think after this started to form, especially with dance and being more in front of the camera and just like my own being as my own business, it's turned into, okay, now I can finally like look into doing more of the other stuff that I've been ignoring. So finances have been one of them this past couple of years. And I would say about 4 or 5 years ago, I started going into like, how can I, as an entrepreneur, like get into a 401k or something that's going to help me when I retire. So I signed up for Acorns, which is a app that just like helps you save and rounds up your money through the spending that you do. And you just deposit a couple bucks every week. And it'll show you over time, like by the time you're a certain age, how much you'll have. And that app really helped. And then I looked into more apps like that, and I started to join more groups. There was a point where I was in the Forex trading space, and I was in the groups, and I invested in that. And then, being on the West Coast, waking up on East Coast time, it was driving me insane. I would wake up with anxiety just trying to fill in the trades, and I quickly gave up on that, which I just needed to reset my mindset on that. So this last year, I've really just tried to reset my mind on that. And I've actually been really quiet about this. I haven't really talked about it because I want to be so dedicated to myself about how I can do this and be really strategic with it, and just really not like boast about anything. Because when I do that, that's when it just doesn't really come to life how I want it to. So I know I deserve a lot more, and I've always kind of struggled with this. So like now that I have the time and the patience, I'm like finally investing in the tools and resources and like doing the research on how I can invest on my own time, and having those resources down. So that's been my journey lately, with like trading futures, or doing day trading in general. And that's just like one avenue. So I do have like a bunch of investments saved up, and like long-term investments that I do have as far as the financial space for like long-term savings. And eventually I do want to get my LLC and get more into the business side of those things. I kind of just been avoiding the government paperwork for so fucking long, just because it's like so not my thing. And yeah, I'm just trying to like own up to being an adult for real these days. But yeah, it just took a lot of time to really find what it is that could really help me. But when it came to like dance performances and costumes and even just dance in general, I knew from the jump like this was not going to be something that I was going to make a lot of money. Like I just knew I wasn't going to be able to make a fortune. And I talked to so many dancers and none of them are able to, unless you're like a weekly stripper that has like a lot of male clientele that come in and spend thousands on you every day. That's the only way you're going to be able to make a lot of money. And we don't have male clientele, and we have women that are limited. Unless you're in a space that have a lot of women that are very financially well off and that really fuck with you, like that's the only way I could see someone like me really being able to be good in that. So then when I reframed it, I was like, let me not try to make so much in this and just more so just make it really fun and really soulfully fulfilling, because it really changed my mindset on it. And it's just so much fun to just have this life, you know? So instead of just trying to make the fun and the finances like equal all the time, it's more so like, how can I just do something on my own time to make it make sense? And then how can I make dance be more fun instead of so stressful about the money? But when it came to like, as far as being respected and having better um, structure behind it, it really made sense to like increase the rates, have package deals, add people in it. So like me and Kels is my other mass dancer I dance with. So we do duo sets a lot. And then I started to do the classes, which helped a lot as well. So I have a feminine friend that does the feminine part of the lap dance classes, and I'll do the masculine part. So we teach a whole lap dance class. And there's just been a lot of like progression and like people that are on the same wavelength as you that have helped, and just services that have helped. I do want to have more like services for people who want to get into dance, and I am seeing myself being a teacher more than anything these days. But it's I still feel like I have more in my journey to go as far as the growth that I want to have to offer to people. So I still invest in taking dance classes all the time and learning all the time and being a student still. And I'm never truly happy with most of my performances. I'm just like, I just go and do what I think I can do the best. And then I think about it later. But I'm like, the level of the doubt is definitely a lot lower. But when it came to costumes and everything that I invested into it, it was just a build. And I love doing a hunt. Like if I can go to a thrift store or find something I can perform in, I love that way more than just like going to a gay sex store and trying to invest in all the gay boy stuff that's like hundreds of dollars that probably doesn't even fit me right. So, you know, like I was in a cowboy group for a while and I needed chaps. So I was like, I put in the universe. It's really hard to find chaps that are like my size. So I actually one day was going to a lot of thrift stores and I was like, oh my God. And I found a pair that was like, I think $20. And that's like crazy because it's real leather and like it's like real chaps. So I was like, yeah, I'm taking this. So like every time I find the chance of something that's gonna like add or I can create, I really want to get into creating my stuff more and surrounding myself with more seamstress people. Like I want to learn that as well because I know like in the future fashion is going to be a lot bigger for me, and like not only with my stuff but just like everybody else around me. But I've been on low key a journey of trying to make stuff for us that makes sense, like queer women, especially mass women. And I have been denied over and over and over again about the different materials and different companies I've been working with. I don't want to put out what I'm trying to make yet, but I do have a lot of things that I am really trying to make for us. And that's been a lifelong goal for sure.
Ooh, I love that. You're such a creative person. Can't stop, I won't stop creating in all the ways.
Have to.
Right.
It keeps the spirit, you know, it keeps the spirit high and it keeps the motivation there. Because if you do all these gigs over time, you can just think like, oh, well, that's it for me. And I'm still young. I still have a lot of life left in me to do this, and there's still a big hole there. Like if there was plenty of masks out here dancing, I could probably be like, all right, but there really isn't. There really isn't. Like there's really nobody, especially that look like me. Absolutely not. You know, or at least dance like me too and have the style that I have, which I really like. So it's like nice to take advantage of the hole that I filled this whole time, and really just expand in that.
Oh, for sure. You got me doing the dolphin kicks at the gym with all the heteros. Yeah. I'm like, how can I practice this without looking too sexual? But whatever, if I'm sexual, these people are probably deprived anyway.
I love that. I actually just was dancing in my gym the other day, and this straight guy came up to me and was like, "Do you dance?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Can you teach me?" Like, and I'm like, "Yeah, yes." So I'm about to start teaching straight men.
There you go. Diversify those income streams. Oh, this is awesome. I want to respect your time. Before we go, do you have any last words you'd like to share with us?
If you or someone watching, just know that, your path, most of our paths as queer people are not usually straight line, which makes sense. And I think we, instead of being scared of that and trying to fit into the capitalistic heteronormative way of doing things, just find your own way and find your own thing that makes you happy, and feel those little things, like feel what makes you happy, what makes you feel like you're being really creative, what makes you feel financially well off, and don't put yourself in the pressure of like other people's past of like you have to have it figured out by a certain age, or you have to have like one career. I'm a true testament that you can do whatever you want to do, and do multiple things all the time and keep progressing in that, and have fun, but also be responsible, and just
drink responsibly.
I don't even drink. That's the best part.
Me neither. Not anymore.
So like you could just like really create the life that you want, and don't think that there has to be a certain way to do anything. It really doesn't. But I'm really glad you had me on here. I really appreciate it.
Yes. And where can folks find you?
Jkiilem on all platforms. JKIILLEM, 2 eyes. Don't forget. And a lot of stuff, like YouTube is my place if you want to learn about different topics that people don't really talk about. Instagram and TikTok are for entertainment, and I also make audios on Quinn, so if you want to listen to some erotic audio, go ahead on Quinn, the Quinn app, and you can listen to my voice over and over. I've like audios out, so yeah.
Here for it.
Yeah.
Kill them with creativity.
Hell yeah. All
right. This is amazing. Thanks for being on. Hope to have you again. Take care.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much for listening and dropping into today's episode. If you want to connect with me and work one-on-one on your money goals, I invite you to book a call to learn more about how I can help you with my money coaching program. I work with folks one-on-one, long-term, so that you can twerk your way to early retirement. I also want to invite you, if you haven't yet, to join my Unicorn Millionaire newsletter. I love dropping money gems through my newsletter right to your inbox, and I share my latest updates and invites to my free personal finance classes. What is better than that? I'm getting them from an MB who is queer and can't stop, won't stop talking about that Roth IRA freak life. So get that juicy goodness at the link in the show notes, and don't forget to visit my blog, unicornmillionaire.com, and come twerk along with me on Instagram at Traveler Charly. That's Traveler Charly with a Y, because that's how they spell it down in Mexico. The information contained in the Unicorn Millionaire podcast is provided for general informational use only. Your purchase, download, and use of this material does not constitute a client relationship. The views expressed by the Unicorn Millionaire podcast hosts and guests are not intended to constitute accountant, legal, tax, certified financial planner, stock advisor, or other professional advice. Users of this podcast material should not act upon this information. Users of this podcast material should do their own due diligence by independently verifying all information, products, and services mentioned with their own qualified professionals before making any decisions. We assume no responsibility for information contained in the Unicorn Millionaire podcast and disclaim all liability with respect to errors, inaccuracies, omissions, misleading, or defamatory statements. Users of this podcast accept and understand the terms of the disclaimer.